Shabbat Shalom. It's a real pleasure, as always, to spend time with you on Shabbat. I would like to ask Steve and Lisa to come up and light the candles. And this is a special occurrence on this Shabbat. Lisa, go around the other side. So you go through it. Oh. Yeah, it's page 2. And hang on a second. You have a couple of So do it for a second.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary indeed, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehavlik shel Shabbat.
Thank you. Do that. Oh, it's okay. All right, please turn now to page 10.
Hine matolu manayim shebekim gam yad. Hine matolu manayim shebekim gam yad. Hine matolu shebekim gam yad. Hine matolu shebekim gam yad. Hine matolu manayim shebekim gam yad. Hine matolu manayim shebekim gam yad. Lo yafeh hayom Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Eilech hamdali, chosam yamidaleh. Eilech hamdali, chosam yamidaleh. Eilech hamdali, chosam yamidaleh. Eilech hamdali, chosam yamidaleh.
And we continue now on page 20, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lechadodi lechrakama, b'nei shema lechakavela. Lechadodi lechrakama, b'nei shema lechakavela. Lechadodi Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Asharei, Aleichem Elyon. Mihi Melech, Aleichem Amati, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem B'Shalom, Aleichem Ashalom, Aleichem Elyon. Mihi Melech, Aleichem Amati, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu B'Shalom, Aleichem Ashalom, Aleichem Elyon. Mihi Melech, Aleichem Amati, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedek Shalom, Aleichem Ashalom, Aleichem Elyon. Mihi Melech, Aleichem Amati, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadal shemei Rava, v'yamadi v'rachirutei v'yamich malchutei, v'chayechom uv'yomechom, uv'chayechom beit Yisrael, ba'agala, uv'izman kariv, v'neru amen. Yehei shmei Rava mevorach, le'olam olmei amaya, yitarach, yifarach v'yishabach, v'yipar v'yiroman v'yinasei, v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalmal, shemei kudusha barichu, le'elam yikol birchata v'shirata, tushkechata v'nehemata, da'amiran v'yalma, v'neru amen. La 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 la, la 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 At the very bottom, we join together. I know that the tide is not an independent force, but merely a submission of the water to the movement of the moon in its orbit. And this orbit, in its turn, is subject to other orbits which are mightier far than it. And so the whole universe is held fast in the clinging grip of strong hands. The forces of earth and sun, planets and comets and galaxies, blindly erupting forces ceaselessly stirring in ripples of silence to the very depth of black space. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Vahed.
Please be seated. Page 37. Love God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. At the bottom of the page under the line. Second paragraph. When people come to you, read with me this. When people come to you for help, do not turn them off with pious words saying, have faith and take your troubles to God. Act instead as if there were no God, as though there were only one person in all the world who could help, only yourself. Abaya said, spread the love of God through your actions. If you yourself study and help others to do so, if your business activities are decent and trustworthy, what will people say? Have you seen the behavior of one who studies Torah? How beautiful! What a fine person. Thus Isaiah taught, you are my servant, Israel. I will be glorified through you. Page 38 at the bottom. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. And please read with me. You are our sovereign and Savior, who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians, who led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously.
Mi kamocha v'helim Adonai, mi kamocha neder b'kodesh, nora tehilot
43. And we join together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'orei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'yoram b'ri olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'yoram b'ri olam.
Page 46, and we all rise. Adonai sifratai tifta ufi agite hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, go to find you, exalted hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present eternal one? My heart cries out to you. Please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. And we continue on the top of 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh b'shabbat. Page 56. Find favor, Adonai our God, with your people Israel, and accept their prayer in love. Together, may the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants, pour out your spirit upon us. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose presence returns to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shekhinah b'Tzion. And we continue now on page 58. Together. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wonders, deeds, and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'el lehodot. We turn to Sholom.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. Ki hatahu le'adom L'chol ha'shalom.
We continue silently.
Said to me that because we really don't like each other and don't talk, but no. I've always been impressed with Steve's example of a true gentleman, a hard worker, and a devoted member of the congregation, a devoted husband, and he's a true leader just by his own life.
Well, one of the things that Mark has commented on, and I've noticed too, is how much he and Lisa truly seem to enjoy each other, just as people. Not just as husband and wife, but just as people. They enjoy the camaraderie together, singing together, laughing together. And we've enjoyed one time when we were over there, Steve made soup. He's just the common touches, He doesn't put on airs. He's just down to earth.
Terrific. And by the way, as you're talking, don't talk to me, talk to Steve. Okay?
I've known Steve for 40-some years, Steve and us both. And one of the outstanding features about Steve, he always makes you feel welcome in his presence. In addition to that, he's a great teacher, and people that I've talked to over the years at SIU and other places, they always felt that he was a great teacher and he did a lot for them. So for that, Steve, I want to say thank you. Sorry to see you retiring so early. You've gone another 10 years. It's up to you.
We'll come back, don't worry. Okay.
I don't know, I can think of one thing that I think Stephen says to me that he never said to anybody else, and that was, will you marry me?
skill, his brilliance, his way of looking at an issue, at a very complex issue, and explaining it well, as well as being a wonderful parliamentarian.
Just remember, I had to live with this guy after tonight, so
Don't worry.
you don't have to
Yep.
stay alone.
Is this a celebration or a wake?
Coming to mind tonight is Steve said, "Wow, that Monaco claw was great." I don't know if Lisa felt the same way. This is my sort of exposure to the bottom line. I think he was talking about water.
I should have trusted you.
He's a connoisseur of wine.
This also included Lisa too, and at our daughter's wedding, we had hospitality room in the hotel, and after one of the, I don't remember which one it was, we were in the hospitality room with Steve and Lisa and Anthony and Bob, and they got in the beds that were in the hospitality room, got maybe like 3 in each bed, and said, this gives new meaning to the hospitality room.
I've known Steve for many years, and I know he's been a terrific mentor to all of his students. He has many, many students. And everything he does is a personal thing. He refers his friends and people that he knows to the very friends, practitioners of family treatment.
Thank you.
Well, I wish that Steve stuck around a little while longer because my young mother, she still uses services and he's always taking her to good care of her. But the thing that he said best to me was downstairs, he says, the Bible is in the freezer.
And you know what? When I first got here, every time I opened up the fridge or freezer to put something in it, there was always vodka. And I thought, what is going on with everybody?
Things that I remember most are things you probably don't want to hear because Steve said it to you in the context of the dermatological exam.
Oh,
So that would be proper.
TMI.
Aside from that, I can't think of any one specific thing, but it was always a pleasure to talk to Steve and Lisa, and we're sorry he's retiring personally, and we hope he'll still be around with me for a long time to go.
Okay. Stephen excitement. I think almost everything you do has a lot of excitement and environment. Nothing just goes by without, that you're kind of indifferent. So I see your involvement, your excitement to learn a bit more, to know more, to continue. I don't know what your plans for the future, probably there are many of them, but when I think of it about you, I see somebody who is so much energy, so much excitement, so much involvement. It's wonderful. People say, well, okay, we are following.
Well, tonight's the birthday of my father, and my father was always extremely impressed with Steve, with how you took on Jewish leadership tasks and roles. And, I think my father probably wanted me to do that too, but I never did. So I've always been very impressed as well with your activism. And I think you've given so much to the Jewish community and the Jewish world, and for that.
Okay, Steve and Lisa, come on up. That's okay. I just figured you could hold him up or something.
Volunteer.
Okay,
Where to go?
you all heard that, right? Okay, this is really a special time, a changing time, a growing time, and a joyful time. This new chapter of your life is opening all kinds of adventures ahead, things that perhaps you've never really thought about. There is a Mishaberach prayer, as you well know. Mishaberach Avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, V'yivarech et Talmid, Talmid, everybody. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you. Like Abraham, may you continue to have the courage to embark on new and exciting journeys. Like Isaac, may you continue to embrace the world with love. Like Jacob, may you wrestle with challenges and triumph to be blessed. Like Sarah, may your experiences be filled with joy and laughter. Like Rebecca, may you be willing to help others as you continue on your journey. Like Rachel, may you be loved by all who meet you. And like Leah, may you be blessed by the love of family who will always cherish you. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that you continue to be guided safely on your journey, that you lead on the path of peace, that you allow yourself to reach and to find God-desired directions and destinations with life and joy and peace. May you be protected from all obstacles along the way and be granted grace, loving kindness, and compassion in the eyes of all who encounter you on the way. Blessed are you, Adonai, who watches over all of us, especially you, on your journey, and who will continue to watch over you in the years to come. You sustain and nourish us with the sacred teaching and traditions of our people, teaching Torah to us, to all of us, and to the children and the children to come. And may God bless you and keep you. You work alongside us to bring the light of justice and compassion to God's broken world. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you always. You bear witness to our lives and accompany us on our journey because you elevate us to our consciousness. And you search in every hour for God's presence in our lives, for your dedication to the community, for your dedication to this family. May God continue to lift your hearts and grant you wholeness, peace, and fulfillment. You have been sustained. You have sustained all these people for these many years. You have brought yourself, your family into this place. Look out with wisdom. Think about all of the wonderful ways that you have changed this world, this part of our community. We hope and we pray that you continue to gaze out towards the path, from the past to the future, with a heightened sense of your presence as guided by God. Let us see that the growth is one that continues to grow and continues to change and continues to bless you with so many special ways. And so we pray, all of us, that the kindness and compassion may be on your lips always, as it has always been. That the strength and courage will be with you as it has been for all of these years, and how much you have changed all of us because of you. And that you continue to learn from and to teach all of those who are so special and near to you. O God, Creator, you are the first and the last. May your life be ever a song of praise to you. And please rise. A little. Come on, a little. Because why not? Yivarech Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God grant you decades of life, of love, of happiness, of good health, and of everything possible good for both of you. And so we say to you, Masal Tov, but we're not quite done, but we have to close the doors first.
Was it?
Oh, never mind. That's okay. Go ahead. I think that most of you heard the news today, the news this morning. There have been a lot of discussions about abortion. There have been a lot of discussions about who is doing what and why and when, and a lot of people say, well, wait a second, who knows? We don't know. And so many people are afraid to speak out and say what needs to be said. What I am going to do is talk to you a little bit about abortion and what Judaism has to say about it. You may or may not disagree, and that's perfectly fine. But what I want to do is to share with you what a shortened version of the texts are. So one of the very first readings comes from the book of Exodus, and it says that when men fight and one of them pushes a pregnant woman and miscarriage results, but no other damage ensues, the one who is responsible is to be fined accordingly, as the woman's husband may exact from him, and he will pay money as the judges determine. Okay? So when the pregnant woman is pregnant, if she is hurt, the response is they pay money back. There's not another way to do that in the book of Exodus. If a woman was condemned to be put to death, they are not allowed to let that person who's about to, they may not wait until she's given birth. But if she already sat on what they call the birthing stool, then they have to wait until she's given birth because the baby has started to come. So you have to wait until the baby is born. Once the baby's head has come out, the baby may not be harmed because one life cannot be taken to serve another, to save another. As long as the fetus has not emerged into the light of the world, it is not a human life. It is a nefesh, it's some kind of soul, but it's not a human life. And it is therefore permissible to take its life in order to save the life of the mother. So an unborn fetus is actually not a nefesh at all, and it has no independent life. It is part of the mother, and just as a person may sacrifice a limb to be cured of a worse sickness, so may this fetus be destroyed for the mother's benefit. Rashi teaches us a little bit more. He says that as long as it did not come out into the world, as the baby didn't come out into the world, it is not called a living thing. It is permissible to take its life in order to save its mother. Once the head has come forward, it may not be harmed because then it is considered to be born. And one life may not be taken to save another. Maimonides goes a little further, and he says that therapeutic abortion is required rather than permitted. And he says, the fetus may be attacked to save its mother's life, and that's obvious. But if out of love for her potential child or because of her husband's objections, she may choose to die so that it may live, Maimonides says absolutely not. You cannot do this. A fetus is considered a pursuer, and we are under obligation to protect the mother. The obligation derives from the negative commandment not to take pity on the life of a pursuer. More so, a pursuer or an attacker may be killed in defense or in self-defense, even when disabling him may do the trick, because you might not know if it's going to work. Just as the law of the pursuer applies even when doubt exists, so too a fetus whose threat to the mother's life is only doubtful. If physicians see a strong possibility that her life is in danger, she can abort. abort the fetus at any point. Mental health risk is also crucial. Mental health risk has been definitely equaled to physical health risk. A woman who is in danger of losing her mental health unless the pregnancy is interrupted, therefore would accordingly qualify. And since the child is not a nefesh, it's not a soul, an abortion becomes basically permissible. Now, of course, one is not to destroy the unborn child without adequate reason, such as the health of the mother, of course. But just as the mother, to save her life, may, if need be, sacrifice a finger or an arm or a leg, she may sacrifice the unborn fetus if her health requires it, since the fetus is called the leg or the thigh of the mother. A principle in the Jewish view of this situation is called sa'arat digufa kadin, which means that her welfare, her avoidance of her pain, comes first. An attacker who can be killed in defense or in self-defense, even when disabling him, may be the trigger, might work. Just as the law of the attacker or the pursuer applies even when such doubt exists, so too, a fetus whose threat to the mother's life is only doubtful. In other words, it means the physicians see a very strong possibility, or a strong possibility, that her life is in danger, and therefore the fetus can be aborted. In non-therapeutic abortions, talking, for example, about mental health risk, mental health risk has been definitely equal to physical health risk. You heard that just a little bit ago. And a woman who is in danger of losing her mental health unless the pregnancy is interrupted, therefore, would qualify for an abortion. Since, therefore, the child is not a nefesh, the abortion becomes permissible. Of course, you cannot destroy an unborn child or a nefesh without an adequate reason. But to save the mother, to save the mother's life, to do what is required to keep the mother alive is an absolute requirement. Due to modern technology, a pregnant woman cannot be certain long before the birth of her child whether it will be born defective due to some kind of disease or something like that. There are still a lot of discussions about thalidomide and rubella and things like that, Tay-Sachs, and these kind of diseases. And in all of these cases, abortion is not permitted out of fear or concern over what the child might have had to endure during its life, because that's assuming what God is saying. Its lot in life is not to be determined nor judged by humanity. Its quality of life is one of the secrets of God, and it is not open to human judgment. However, some rabbinical authorities maintain that if the pregnant woman expresses anguish about her own mental, emotional, or psychological well-being resulting from an impending birth, then her pain may warrant an abortion. In the case of non-therapeutic abortions, the major consideration is the pain of the mother. It is out of consideration for the woman involved and not the fate or condition of the fetus, which becomes the determining factor in prohibiting or permitting an abortion. The majority of the later authorities maintain that the abortion should be permitted if it is necessary for the recuperation of the mother, even if there is no mortal danger attaching to the pregnancy, and even if the mother's illness has not been directly caused by the fetus. So the abortion is permitted as long as the fetus has not emerged from the womb, even if not in order to save the mother's life, but only to save her from the harassment and great pain which the fetus would cause her. Abortion then is prohibited if it is merely intended for its own sake. It is also permitted for medical reasons, of course, and psychological reasons. It is also permitted if intended to serve the mother's needs, and this particular teacher said, even if it's not vital. If it affects the mother, that choice goes to the mother. Abortion for population is, in many people's minds, is repugnant to the Jewish mind. Abortion for economic reasons is not admissible. You can't just say, I want more money. Taking precautions by abortion or contraception against physical threat to the mother remains a mitzvah, but not in order to forestall financial difficulty. Material considerations or career concerns are not acceptable in this connection, especially in view of the readiness of others to adopt or to nurture. But when the reasons are considering abortion for overwhelming purposes, the woman retains the right to do so after all. And this, by the way, is from an author, David Feldman, an Orthodox scholar. Later on, not tonight, but later on, probably as this discussion continues over the months, we're going to do a little bit of a larger discussion. There's a lot more text and thoughts to talk through and try and figure out and discuss. But what I want to finish up with this evening is my position, which won't help. Every group in America, in my mind, is entitled to its own theological position. When one or more groups seeks to have their theological position reinforced by the legislative or other governmental apparatus, that is a violation of the separation of church and state. As a rabbi, I have the right to interpret Jewish tradition both for myself and with my congregants. Judaism teaches us that abortion, while a very, very difficult choice, is a legitimate choice for a woman to make, according to Jewish text. We jeopardize the very foundations upon which our freedom is based when we allow any theology to claim dominance in our pluralistic society. The separation of church and state and our right to freedom of religion demand that women be allowed to make their own decisions about their own bodies, and that no single theology can be permitted to limit all women's freedom. King be ransom. May this be God's will. Okay, we are going to turn now to page 253. Page 253. Is there anybody who is saying the Mishnah for someone special?
I have several names here that I'd like to mention. Joe Paul Horry, Elaine Hills, Barry Zimmerman, my daughter Ava, Ryan R. Rothschild.
John Clay.
Anybody else?
Our cousin Marcy Hancock.
Anybody else? We also hold in our hearts Alan Benechu, Jody Foster, and Lucy Karen.
And Lynn's sister Karen and Lynn's aunt Sonetta.
We are going to continue with the Mishnah, page 253.
Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us
We continue on page 293 momentarily. Is there anyone who is saying Kaddish? You want to share something about your family, your father?
Well, I'm saying Kaddish for two members of my family, my great-great-grandfather and my father. And I think my great-great-grandfather was never a member of his congregation because he got here too early. But my father was all his life, and 20 years ago he died. And I miss him.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
I want to comment about Jim Myers.
Sure.
When I first came to town, Jim befriended me. He urged me in 1976, he came to town in 1974, he urged me to go to Israel on a leadership mission. And I said, Lisa and I said, well, we've got 2 little kids at home. You gotta wait. And he said, if you wait till they grow up, it's going to be another 18 years or more before you go. Go now. And listen. And so did another young leader in Glen Lieberman. And we both went on that mission to Israel. So he really was responsible for kickstarting my role as an activist in the pro-Israel Jewish community. And I will never forget what he did for me personally. It's that embarrassing thing today. I wanted to give him credit. But it is.
I love the same thing.
Is there anybody else?
He befriended me. And he's one of the reasons why I'm active in the temple.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Page 293. Remember our people who suffered and died, so that we could be free and secure. May their memory be more than a distant shadow.
For their dreams left unfulfilled and lives taken too soon, we remember.
Remember our brothers and sisters whose sacrifice kept the dream of democracy and justice alive. May their courage be our inspiration and strength.
For life cut short and vision unrealized, we remember.
Remember the fallen of our armed services, the victims of terror and tragedy. May the darkness of their loss not obscure the light of peace. They were in love with our land and in love with life.
For the agony, the tears, the mothers and the fathers, for the children who were and for the children yet to be, we remember.
We turn the page. William Wald, cousin of Lisa Stone. Ira Scholes, mother of Debbie Steele. Sandra Indez, sister of Arlene Behrman. Roz Zimmerman. Sylvia Falk, mother of Lori Barnum. Ruth Datz, mother of Pollock, mother of Sharon Green, Sarah Myers, sister of Barbara Spiro, Natalie Yaffe, wife of Stuart Yaffe, Dr. Gilbert R. Cherrick, uncle of Alan Cherrick, Lawrence Berlin, father of Becky Trieger, Gloria Cohen, mother of Mary Beth Cohen, John Woods, remembering Edie Schultz. In prior years, we remember these wonderful people: Robert Alford, Ida Baer, Herbert A. Behrens, Esther L. Cohen, Bernhard Deutsch, Michael Eckstein, William Fishman, Margaret Gelbach, Esther H. Hexter, Saul Kahn, Max Hartman, Marvin Levine, James E. Myers, Wolf Myers, David Radline, Vera Chick Siegel, Ben Swislow, Samuel Ziegler, and Seymour Shapiro. Sorry. We rise, we join together as we remember all of these special people. Yid Gadal, Yid Kadash, Shnei Rabbah, Yalmat Yivra, Yerutei, Yamlik Malchutei, V'chayecho, V'yomecho, V'chaye, D'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agala, V'zman Kariv, V'yimrehu, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'olam, Amen, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitruman, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yithaleh, V'yithalal, Shemei B'kedusha, B'richu. Le'elam Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechamata, Da'amiran V'alman V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya L'chaim, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru, Amen. Osei Shalom V'bramav, Huya Asei Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, and let us all say, Amen. Have a seat. And we are going to continue on page 345 with the Traveler's Prayer. Unless, would you guys like to do the closing song? He did enough songs. Come on up, pick a song, any song you like. That was a better idea.
How about we do
We can do anything you want. I don't know how long this is in the front here. It's a yellow page.
I just thought of something else about Jim Myers. I think, no, something really exemplary, for which we should all be grateful. I think he was the one at the store, and hired his brothers, who hired the first African-American workers, which is not a popular thing to do in this community. But his humanity and his goodness for
No
them.
one cared.
Is that not true?
Yeah.
Worth remembering.
Okay. Adon olam asher